G'day guys, it's John here from Gangers Construction again. The 6-month update on the Milwakee nailers. I got 2 of them here. They're both tagged. This one says low power. This one says striker bad. A little depressing. Well, that's not all there is to the story. Let's look at the bad and the good with the Milwakee nailers after 6 months of real use. All right, so for the bad part, the long magazines, they do get bent easily if you're hard on things, but on the flip side, they're easy to bend back in and then your follower won't jump out. So that hasn't been a major hindrance for us. Where the problem has laid for us mostly is the striker assembly inside. We're getting about 8,000 nails per nailer, I would say, on average. We got the first set of 4, they've been all replaced, and now we got these 2 to go back. So out of 10, we're at 6 have gone bad, but one of those was weak right from pretty much day 1. Within a week, it was not sinking the nails all the way. And that seems to be an issue. The striker assembly go bad and they'll get weak, or they simply will quit working. And I'll throw in a video here of when this nailer messed up on the job, and you'll see what it sounds like. It's obviously on his last leg.
Yeah.
Oh, now the light went again. Or is... No. So she's reset it. Yeah. Time for warranty again. Otherwise, when it comes to the bad, turnaround on repairs has been very slow. We were over a month getting our first set back, and we'll take these in here. These have been bad for probably a month and a half, but just haven't got around to putting them in. We haven't been using them a lot lately. We've been doing steel erection, so you know how it is. You tend to procrastinate with the things that you don't need right now. On the good side, we really like these nailers for production. They're very fast. They're heavy in comparison to an air nailer, but we're not dragging hoses around. We can go wherever we want with lifts, and we don't have to worry about compressors. Especially in the wintertime here, we find air compressors not the most reliable. And so far it seems that these work okay in the cold weather. They do generate a fair bit of heat, so they stay warm. In the summertime, we have had them overheat some, but only on the hottest of days, which up here in Ontario, we don't see the heat you would in the southern states, of course. The 12 amp hour battery is our go-to battery when it comes to cracking together walls or decking, something like that, where we're working down, putting sheeting on. If we're working in the air and in lifts or doing ceiling, we're running the 5 amp hour. What we found is the 12 cycle a little bit faster, and these are a battery hog. Now, having said that, all of my 5 amp hour batteries are pretty much 4 or 5 years old, and some of them are older than that. So that could have a bearing on why our 5 amps aren't giving us that much runtime. But yeah, we just start running the 12s, and we really like that. It speeds up the cycle time, and we don't really think if there's any difference between this and an air nailer in our production. And we get the freedom to run just wherever. So we really like them. going to throw up some V-roll here of us throwing on some sheeting on a house and show you how these puppies work when they're working, and we love them. We have flawless feeding. They're very, very powerful, and typically we find that we overdrive nails sooner than we do with air, which really surprised me. And the other thing is these toenail very, very nice. So having used them now for thousands of nails, this is probably my favorite nailer when it comes to toenailing. The only drawback we see is when we're doing blocking. They're fairly long nailer, and so when we're running blocking on 16-inch stud centers, then depending which angle you're trying to get in, it's a little bit awkward, but we can always do it. You just have to change your technique for nailing blocks depending on which side you're on, of course. Now the motor sticks out the side here, so it can interfere, and that is where we are running against when we're trying to toenail our blocks in. And you just simply got to tip the nailer up and run in this way rather than shooting it on the side. So it's not really that big of a deal, but something we notice. The extended magazines, to me, it's a no-brainer. We definitely want to run those. The only thing I wish is they had a catch here. So like if we drop the slide and our strips can come out, I wish there was a secondary catch that the strips would not come out. But honestly, that's being picky, and it really is not here nor there. As far as jamming in here, sometimes some nailers, you'll get a double feed and it'll jam up. We've had that happen maybe twice. Yeah, maybe. I think I've only had to take this apart once to pull the slide off to clear a jam out, but then we discovered that it was the striker assembly was bad. That was the first time that we had a nailer go bad. So was it a jam? Was it the striker assembly that was causing the issue? I'm not 100% sure, but when they're working, they're very reliable, and then they quit. It is kind of the experience we've had. Like I said, 8,000 nails is what we're seeing on average per nailer currently. That's disappointing. I would like to see it higher than that, but this is our first shot, and it's a whole lot better than yellow has been for us. I would say to date, the Hitachi Metabo probably will run the most nails through it before it decides to give up. But they are not the production nailer that this is, and we use these significantly harder than we would have ever used a Metabo nailer, just because we use these day in and day out rather than here and there. And if you're setting up and you're strictly doing production framing where you can have a central air compressor, you don't have to be running hundreds of feet of hose or anything like that, and you're able to lay it out in a way you don't get hoses tangled, air nailers are the way to go. Particularly in the summertime, they're light, they're fast, and they're economical. But if you're doing a lot of climbing, and say you're doing trusses or something like that, working on the roof, then we would definitely vote to the battery nailer. Doing ceilings, that's going to be a personal preference. We definitely prefer the battery nailers, as we don't have to worry about hoses when we're working in the lifts. But some people are going to find these to be quite heavy for working above your head. But what we have done is we regularly switch off the guy running the nailer so that he doesn't wear out working above his head all the time. And I would say on a typical shop ceiling, we do see a savings in time by running the battery over the air. Which brings up another point. The additional cost for us and the type of work we do a fair bit of lift work, and we don't have, we get spread out a lot. So we can have the air compressor over here, but there's a guy over there that wants to run a nailer and a guy over there, and it turns into an air hose mess. So for us, switching to these is a big savings for me, and fixing air hoses. They don't cost a lot, but you get downtime, and with these we can just grab and go, and we're not losing any production. And I would actually say that our production has increased in scenarios such as that. But like I said, if you can set up in one place, probably stick to the air and just have one or two of these for those random jobs that you got to knock out here and there on the project. So there you go, guys. 6 months. We're still going to use them. Yep, they're not perfect, but for what we do, we feel the additional cost of the tool is being offset by our increases in production. So cheers, guys. Work hard. Mighty depending on you.